Welcome back. Let's talk about growth and the production possibility frontier. Is it the whole curve that shifts or just one end? So recall that the production possibility frontier shows us the combinations of output that an economy can produce. The frontier itself represents efficient production. Inside the frontier is inefficient production, not getting everything out of our scarce resources that we could. And beyond the frontier is infeasible. We just can't get there with our scarce resources. But what about growth? Well, it's going to shift the curve, but is it going to shift the whole curve or just one end? So growth and production possibilities of one of the two goods is going to shift one end of the curve. Growth and production possibilities for both goods is going to shift the whole curve. And if this is starting to sound a little abstract, you're absolutely right. We need to just get in and work with it. So let's look at a couple of examples. So we're going to make the assumption that there are two goods, guns and butter, the classic assumption of national defense spending versus consumption spending. So the first case that we'll look at is what happens if population and the labor force expand. The second case is what if there's a new smelting technique that speeds up the production of steel. And the third one is what happens if someone finds that warming the cream before churning speeds up butter production. Let's jump in and take a look at these three cases. So we have three cases to model of guns and butter production possibilities and economic growth. So let's start by just setting up three PPFs. So if we set one up for case 1, set one up for case 2, and set one up for case 3. So for each one of these, we're looking at guns versus butter. Guns versus butter. Guns versus butter. And I'm just going to arbitrarily draw in production possibility frontiers with a bow shape that represent increasing opportunity cost, probably a reasonable assumption. And now we've got to remember what were our three cases. So the first case we said is an increase in population and the labor force, the number of people that are available to work. The second one is an improvement in steel production technology. And then the third one was an improvement in butter churning technology. Okay, so how do we model these? Well, if population and labor force increases, that means a country that's making only guns is going to be able to make more guns if they continue to focus on them. But if they were making only butter and the population and labor force grows, now they're going to be able to make more butters. And some combination in between, they'll be able to make more of both. So in this case, when the population and labor force have increased, the entire production possibility frontier has shifted out. In the second case, if we have an improvement in steel production technology, that's probably not all that helpful in making butter. So if they focus completely on butter, they can still make the same amount of butter as before. But if the country puts all of its time and effort into making guns, with that improved technology, now they can produce more. So what's happened? The curve has shifted, but only at one end. It's pivoted from the butter end, which hasn't changed, can still make the same amount of butter as before, but now can make more guns. And these combinations in between, for the same amount of butter they were making before, they can make more guns. And then finally, the third case, an improvement in butter churn technology. I bet you can see where this one's going. Butter churn technology doesn't help produce guns at all, but it means now they can produce more butter. So again, the curve has shifted, but it's shifted or pivoted around this anchor point on guns. Hopefully you're getting a feel for how we can think about and visualize and represent growth in a production possibility frontier. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.